we got some really good stuff today. Wonder if we could get everybody to reflect on how this helps us in our basic roles in life and leadership and family and other things.
And I'd almost want to ask, what is leadership? Yeah, what does it look like? Is it the power man at the top,
Mm.
or is it working and playing together as a team with each person having a unique contribution? Dan, have you done circle work?
I have.
Yeah, as have I. For those of you who haven't done circle, it's a totally different structure. It's not the triangular structure. It's everybody, and the circle is the perfect figure.
Yeah.
At least some people think so, but everyone is equidistant from that center point. And the circle work I have done, which is with Ron and Victoria Friedman, Vistar, VISTAR circles. One person speaks at a time and everybody else listens. Sometimes there's a talking stick in the center, which I think comes from indigenous traditions. Sometimes you have a microphone in the center. There's a focus of conversation, just as we've had a focus today of images, with the images changing. The person who chooses to speak at any particular moment in time goes into the center and picks up the talking stick or the microphone or whatever it happens to be. And they speak and everybody else listens. But something they say may trigger something in somebody else's mind who has walked a different path in life and has a unique perspective. So you're playing off of one another. You're dancing this cosmic dance or playing this cosmic game, but in an accountable and respectful, mutually respectful space. And what words do I want to use here? Mentality. It's not it's a non-dual consciousness space, if that makes any sense to anybody. It's not separating subject and object necessarily, although you can do that if you choose to do it because it's a useful tool.
Yeah, I think the person in the center, in my experience, is sharing an experience. And if there's an open to listen in the group, the person doing the work in the center, everybody in the circle is doing their work. Right? I'm not just listening as an object observer. If I'm really in with that person, whether it's somatically, whether I'm looking at my own experience, right? There are people who can end up crying off a story. The person in the center is not even crying, right? So it's really that joining that I think is. I want to say one more thing about leadership. If you were in a group of Diane was talking to 500 people. If someone were to say, who's the leader? 490 of those people, if Diane was at the podium and she was speaking, they'd say she's the leader. Well, that's not true. See, everybody is leading all the time. And the question is, to what? And so if I can speak to a business idea. Right? You've got the CEO and he's in and he's just made this phenomenal speech. You've got the sycophants. You've got the people who shake their head and go, that was great. And as soon as they leave the meeting, start talking it down. You've got the people, as soon as Janet speaks, they always come in and either contradict or say the same thing. So it's really interesting to see how people show up, right? But everyone's leading all the time. And I would argue that leadership might be interesting to set some strategy based on value. But the real question to the leader is, what's your relationship to power? And to what extent are you willing to give it up? And that will tell you, right? So what we claim our leaders rarely are, They're there for situational title.